This is part 2 of our kitchen remodeling project. If you haven't seen it yet, go back and watch the first one. It'll show all the demolition work we did in the kitchen. Hi everyone, and welcome back to part 2. We're continuing our remodeling project. Today we're going to put on the second coat of drywall compound. We're going to do a light sanding first. I'm going to be using a sanding block. And if you're going to sand drywall compound, you want to make sure you get the special sandpaper that's made for it. It's called wall sand. And it kind of has an open mesh. So it kind of looks like a screen, open mesh. That way it doesn't get clogged, with the drywall compound. So let's get started. Now when sanding, make sure you protect yourself from dust. I'm wearing a respirator. And these work good. Well, I finished the light sanding. I'm getting ready for the second coat of joint compound. And what I'm using is this called dust control drywall compound. Seems to be working out pretty good. So I'll be going through and putting the second coat of this on all the joints. Well, I finished the second coat of drywall compound. We'll let this dry, then come back tomorrow, another light sanding, put on the final coat. And after that, it'll be primer, then paint. Thanks for watching. Okay, I just finished very light sanding on the last coat I did. Now this will be the third and final coat. I'm going with a bigger blade. Welcome back. Well, our third coat of drywall compound has dried now. You can see how much wider it is. If you look at our original paper tape we put on the seam, that was the original tape we started with. So now we have approximately 6 inches of compound on both sides of the tape feathered out. I'm going to be giving it one last very light sanding. I'm going to be switching over to a fine mesh sandpaper for the final touch-up sanding. And then I'm going to be using a special primer for drywall. Okay, this is a PVA primer. Now you'll get best results if you use a drywall primer. There are a lot of paints out there that say they have the primer built in. You don't need this. But you'll get a much better coverage and final coat if you go with the PVA primer. This is almost like a carpenter's glue. And since you have paper surface, plaster surface, it seals both of those surfaces really well, so you get a really good top coat from your color finish. So we'll continue on, and again, so it's a little bit light sanding, and then then painting the primer coat. Okay, and just a reminder, use your respirator when sanding. Protect those lungs. Well, the drywall is all taped and sanded. 3 coats of drywall compound. Now we're putting on the PVA primer. Well, our primer dried overnight. All the walls are now primered, and Carol's just getting back from the paint store with the paint she picked out. Okay, Carol, so you got the rollers, got the trays, good. And okay, so what color paint did you get?
I picked out Barely Teal.
Let me take a look. Barely teal. Oh, that's nice.
Nice
Kind of reminds me of low tide in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Nice color. Okay, well, let's get to work.
Okay.
Well, that finishes up the first coat. What do you think? Think one coat would do it?
Well, I hope so, as long as we didn't miss any spots. But
Yeah.
it looks nice. I like the color.
I think one coat will do it. Yeah, it's a nice, cool, refreshing color.
Yes, it is.
Okay, on to the next step. Okay, what we got here, Carol?
Oh, we have some molding for the window
More window molding
and caulking.
and some caulking, and of course, where are these big bags?
Sunflower seed for the birds.
Oh, sunflower seeds.
Gotta feed the birds.
Well, this reminds me of when we built our van. We're either at Lowe's or Home Depot like 4 times a week. They must really like do-it-yourselfers. Okay, so next up on the agenda is going to be to install the window trim around the kitchen window. And let's get started with this. Well, the window trim is finished. Now, next step, we're going to be moving on and covering the cement foundation at the bottom of the wall. Okay, so we have an exposed foundation here because this kitchen is built over a slab. There's no cellar underneath. So we're covering the foundation with strips of wainscoting. I already gave them 3 coats of varnish. Now I'm going to glue them and stapling them with the foundation. I'll be making some molding to go on the top of the foundation right here, which will nail right onto this nailing strip. So for the molding, I have some 1x4 clear pine, which I'll be ripping down to 2 7/8 inches wide. Well, next I'll be using a router to put a decorative edge on the molding. Well, next I'm going to put on a clear coat of polyacrylic finish. And what I like about this finish is you can give it like 3 coats in one day. It dries really fast. Okay, long piece of molding coming in. So this is all finished now. It has 3 coats of varnish. Clear finish. That's going to go on top of the cement foundation. And then we'll nail this in place. Well, that pretty much covers up that concrete foundation, and we left it natural light to match the rest of the kitchen that we're putting together. Well, next on the agenda is removing this corner cabinet. As you can see, it's pretty old. It's the hinges here, so I'll be demoing. Okay, time to break out the stalls off. Well, now that the old closet has been removed, I'll be insulating the outside wall right here, and I'll sheetrock in this corner. Hey, good morning everyone. We're on our way down to IKEA to pick out some kitchen cabinets for phase 1 of our project.
And we've used IKEA cabinets in our van, so they're easy to install and we liked them.
Yeah, and they're pretty rugged. They went through a lot of rough use in our van crossing the country. So we chose to use those for our kitchen. So we're heading down to New Haven to the IKEA store, which actually just opened recently because of COVID-19. So stay tuned. Okay, time to mask up and go into IKEA. I'll put you're putting. Okay, ready Before we drove down to IKEA, we used the IKEA online kitchen planning tool at home to pick out all our cabinets, hardware, and accessories. The problem was the store just opened. There was a lot of confusion with the new COVID requirements, employees being out of work for 3 months. Also, a lot of items were out of stock that we needed, probably due to a decrease in manufacturing at the IKEA facility. So we finally got through it all, but we were there for several hours. And once we got home and checked our order, there was even mistakes in it. We're going to have to return some items.
All right, thanks everyone for watching part 2 of our kitchen remodeling project.
Yes, and stay tuned for part 3. In part 3, we're going to start putting up new ceiling tiles. We'll get into crown molding. We're going to have a pro come in and do our floors. We finish the floors. And then we'll probably start assembling maybe some of the IKEA furniture that's going in to that part of the kitchen. So once again, thanks for watching, off our rockers and stay tuned for more of our upcoming videos. Bye.
Bye.